Here we are, back to Speak Your Soul, Module 2. I have something extraordinary for y'all today. What we are going to dive into is going to change the trajectory of how you magnetize clients. It is going to change the way you live your life, the way you look at what's happening all around you, the way you observe each experience that you have. When you really begin to integrate what we're teaching and sharing today, you're going to begin to have a lot more fun. You're going to begin to infuse a new level of who you are into everything that you bring to the table. And I am so excited to share this piece of the Speak Your Soul puzzle with you today. So if you're feeling ready, tell me hello. If you're feeling excited, I want to know. Hey, Tasha. Who else is here? Talk to me. Goja in the house. Yes. Maria. Hello, beautiful. Yes. Amanda, you're here live today. Yay. All right. Jennifer West. Hey. Stacy. Thank you for the beautiful compliment. Pink. I'm going to have to start wearing pink a little more often, huh? God, that song, it gives me energy. It breathes life into me. It's kind of fun to start. Erin, hello. We got the Aligned Mastermind represented here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this module because what we are going to dive into today, literally, oh my gosh, it's going to change everything. It's going to elevate everything. And it's going to also infuse the frequency. That's the word I was looking for. Infuse the frequency of fun into your speaking and into your social media. So this is Speak Your Soul. Hi, Jessica. Thank you, beauty. This is Speak Your Soul. However, we're going to speak our soul on stages. We're going to speak our soul on when we hit the live button. We're going to speak our soul in our coaching programs. We're going to speak our soul inside of corporations. We're going to speak our soul when we're writing social media posts. That is how all of this is going to elevate every area of your life and help you to attract clients. Okay? So before I dive into what we're going to talk about today, the kind of precursor to this is dropping perfection. Who here feels like you haven't done something because it's not perfect? This is a big thing that can hold you back for a very long time if you let it. And so when it's time to speak your soul, you got to be able to drop perfection. And if you're not dropping perfection, then you're going to be in the waiting energy because you're waiting for it to be perfect. You're waiting to have every single I dotted and every single T crossed. But when you're in my world, we move at quantum speed. And when you move at quantum speed, there is no room for perfection. And perfection actually isn't relatable anyways. And when we can begin to let go of perfection, we open our channel in a new way. Because if we're too worried about being perfect, we're going to be thinking, am I doing this right? What was I supposed to say? What was that beat? Instead of being in the moment, being in the flow, trusting your gift, trusting your power, trusting your channel. And so this is your invitation right now to leave perfection in your rear view mirror. I'm not afraid of failure. I let go of the outcome. Boom. Exactly. So I wanted to bring this up because if you're not experiencing movement, it's because most likely because you're waiting on everything to be perfect. And I'm here to tell you nothing is ever going to be perfect. Now, can you be prepared? Can you make sure you have certain things down in? Yep, that's why you're here. And it applies to every aspect of your business with this, but this is a big piece. So today we are going to dive into the beginning pieces of the art of storytelling. And let me just tell you, y'all moved me. When I was watching each of you that have already posted your selfie with your quantum moment, I was so moved. And how many of you felt moved by the other images? And by the way, it was micro potent. It was a little blurb, a little story. When I was reading Catherine's, I was in tears. I was literally in tears. And it was like 3 paragraphs. And so the idea here is that we're practicing, we're showing up. Yep, lessons, not mistakes. I only fail if I quit. Absolutely. And so the storytelling is the connection. It is the glue that's going to connect you to those around you. And this is where you get to have a lot of fun. Now, when you practice your quantum moment in the mirror, how did it feel? Did you feel like I'm nailing it? Did you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm stuttering? Did you feel like, okay, this is easier than I thought? Did you feel like this is harder than I thought? There's no right or there's no wrong, by the way. It's simply just feedback. So if you're feeling nervous about it, then you're like, you know, you're in the right place because you're meant to tell these pieces of the story. If you feel like I'm stuttering, I don't have it all together yet, no worries. That's why we practice. And if you're feeling like, you know, I want to know. So tell me, what did it feel like for those of you that are here live and you did it easier than you thought? Exactly. Because you were just telling a story. I nailed a quantum moment on the meeting this morning. My audience was about 15 hearts. That's beautiful, Jessica. Congratulations. Better than before. Good. Are we allowed to share video shares in the group of us telling quantum moments? You can absolutely share video shares. I'm not going to be able to go and give all individual feedback on the video shares, but you can do that to support each other. And it's a beautiful place to practice. So you can do videos and you can also kind of do it with each other, like give feedback, and you're going to learn from watching other people and you're going to build connection. So yes, you can do that. Okay. So feeling easier. Good. So wherever you are, there's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of getting in flow. And I can tell you that whether this is your first go round in this program, second, third, or fourth, it doesn't even matter. You always are going to improve when you implement this process. So whether you're just getting started or whether you've been around the block for a minute with speaking, this is really going to help you. And yep, if you haven't posted your quantum moment yet, no worries. You can absolutely do it. Catherine says, I'm so proud of myself for putting it into words. I struggled when I looked in the mirror. I don't know if you were on earlier, Catherine, but I was just saying I was literally in tears when I read yours. They're all so beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you a story, a good story. And I want you to listen, but I want you to pay attention. So I don't want you so focused. I want you leaned back. I want you in your receiving mode while you're listening, but I just want you paying attention to the way that I'm telling the story. Okay? So, and that's it. Just listen, open your heart, and then just be aware that this is a speaker's program and I'm telling a story for a reason. Because there's the art and the energetics of storytelling, and we're going to kind of unravel this, but this is the beginning piece of it. So a few years ago, I was in Georgia for Christmas. I go to Georgia every Christmas, but this was a few years ago. And I have a niece who is just wide open. This girl she is loving life. She is a firecracker. She is filled with energy. She's a ton of fun to be around. Do y'all know anybody like that in your life? Have you ever been around a kid that's just so filled with life and playful and it makes you giggle and has a lot of energy? And so this would be the frequency of my youngest niece. Jessica, that's funny. So my youngest niece, they call me Nini. I have 4 nieces and nephews, 2 nieces, 2 nephews, and they all call me Nini. And this was a few years ago at Christmas, and my youngest niece, Mamie, was 6 years old. And it's Christmas morning, and she comes running into my parents' house, and she has on a pink tutu, a jean jacket, and these little booties. And she looks like a fashionista at age of 6. She runs in, and the first thing she does is she goes, Nene, I hit the jackpot with Santa. And I'm like, tell me. She's like, oh my gosh. And she had gotten this little 4-wheeler thing that she could drive around, and she didn't know what was coming. So it was a surprise. And she was telling me about all the other stories and gifts that she got. And she was so excited. And then the way that we do gifts there is we kind of pass all our gifts around. And so she had her spot, she got her chair, she moved her chair out of the way, she got on the floor, and she started building a fort with her presents. Like she was going to make it a fun ta-da. And I'm just kind of over there looking at her, and I'm like, I love how fun she makes everything. Like, she's going to make anything fun. And of course, unwrapping presents is fun. But is sitting there waiting to unwrap your presents fun? Not always. But she managed to make it fun by building a fort and playing around. And she's still riding high on the vibes of the 4-wheeler. And so this is kind of the energy that she brings. So a few days after Christmas, I go over to my sister's house. And Mamie is snuggled up on the sofa, like kind of on the end watching a show. This girl loves a cartoon. She loves a show. And I walk in and she's like, Nene, come sit with me. Come watch the show. And so I'm sitting there and she's like telling me about the characters. She wants me to know about the characters because watching a show is also a fun thing for her. So I'm sitting there with her for a minute, and her older sister walks in. And her older sister is about 6 or 7 years older than her. So she's 13, 14, around that age. And she's like, Nene, do you want to play this game with me? And so I'm like, sure. It was a game. It was for a teenage trivia game. And then one of the brothers walks in, and he's about, I think, 10, 11 at the time. And he's like, I want to play. So we're like, okay. So big sister, older brother, and me are on the sofa playing. And I thought Mamie was just so zoned in with her TV show. And all of a sudden she turns around and she goes, I want to play. And I'm like, girlfriend, you're 6 years old. This is a trivia game for teenagers. And she's like looking at me like this, like, and I want to play energy. And I'm about to tell her no. And something just burst my heart wide open. And I'm like, look at her. You can't tell her she can't play because she's not old enough. And I'm like, what's it going to hurt? Like, she can move some pieces around the board. Who cares? So I'm like, okay, you can play. And then her older sister and Knox, her brother, they were like, what? She can't play this game. And I'm like, y'all, chill. She's going to play. And so we get out. I can't remember the name of the game. I think it's called like Peacocky. And the way the game works is you get to hear the question, and then you can decide if you get to like wager on if you're going to get the answer right or not. And so we open up the game, we set it up, we've got our pieces on the board, and Kate's over to my right, Mamie's to my left, and then Knox is across the way. And so big sister, she's very curious about things. She's curious. She likes to know things. She doesn't like to rock the boat. She wants to kind of see her way through things into comfortability before she really makes a move. So I asked her the first question, and the first question was something crazy like, what was the position in the Palestinian government that decided this XYZ law? And she's like, I don't know that. And I'm like, well, do you want to bet? You can bet up to 3. And if you bet and you get it wrong, you go backward. If you get it right, you get to go that many forward. And she's like, I don't know the answer. Why would I bet? And I'm like, well, honey, it's ABC. You got 3 choices. So you have a 33% chance of getting it right. So it's up to you. She's like, I don't know it. I'm not going to bet. So for her, it really wasn't worth the risk of if she got it wrong. So then I go over to Knox and I read the question, and of course he didn't know it. And he's like, okay, I'm going to guess. Like, I feel like the odds are in my favor. I've got 2. I'm going to go bet 2 and I'm going to guess. Oops. Okay, I want to make sure y'all can still hear me. So then at this point, Knox guesses and he gets it right. So he gets to move 2. So now Mamie, it's her turn. And I'm thinking she's kind of watching TV, but she turns around like the second it's her turn. And I read the question, and it's a ridiculous question. Like, who was the president in Zimbabwe in 1932? And I'm like, Mamie, do you want to bet? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to bet. Like, it was any question. She's like, absolutely, I'm going to bet. And then I was like, okay, how many do you want to bet? She goes, well, how many can I bet? And I was like, 3. And she goes, okay, I bet 3. And so I read the question, and she leans over. It was the cutest thing. And she leans over and she goes, Nene,